Action. Hi, this is Laurie.
This is Peter.
And we're with Action Heroes LA with another review. Actually, with our guest, Ryan. Ryan is back because we have a DC movie to review.
Yes.
DC is back, this time with
Blue Beetle.
Blue Beetle, their penultimate movie before they get into the James Gunn era. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. So we're here to share thoughts. Peter and I just saw it on Thursday at Crenshaw Baldwin Hills.
Yes.
Back to the cheap theaters.
Extra.
So, thoughts? Who wants to go? What? Oh, was it? See, my notes are on it. Did it come together or did it sink like a yellow submarine? Let's see if he can guess what we'll be doing today. Ryan, did you want to go or do you want to?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I saw this film last week and wasn't sure what to expect going into it. My knowledge of the character is pretty much limited to the adaptation of Blue Beetle in the Young Justice cartoon. So I'm aware of him a little bit in the comics, the Ted Kord version, but never was a big fan of him. I don't know anything about the Dan Garrett version, which was the first incarnation. And I'm aware of Jaime Reyes, but still didn't know much about him in the comics. My primary knowledge was the incarnation, or adaptation, I should say, of Jaime Reyes in Young Justice. And this film parallels what we see in the Young Justice incarnation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I had some familiarity of what they were going to do with Jaime Reyes. And there is a lot of parallels. So there is a lot of similarities between this and what was in the cartoon. So that was sort of nice to see. I wasn't totally, in unknown waters. But I really liked what I saw. I forget the actor's name, who I know was on Cobra Kai.
Is it who plays the Blue Beetle?
Yeah, and I thought he was really good. I loved the whole family dynamic of the show. How every character, from the father to the grandmother to the sister, everyone was getting involved. Even the crazy uncle played by George Lopez,
right?
Who I thought, could have. I know he was the comedy relief, and he might come off annoying to some people, but I thought his character was used really well. He wasn't just mere comedy relief. I thought he was used well and very creatively in a lot of ways, and really added a lot to the film. I don't think this isn't something on the level of like The Dark Knight, so not like the greatest of films. But I thought it was very good, and I enjoyed it, and I'd recommend it to anyone else, who wants to see a nice film. I think it's also great that we get to see a Latino superhero, which is something that's lacking in sort of the landscape of superheroic characters, whether that's on the big screen or even in the comics itself. So it was nice to sort of see that represented, both that character as well as his culture, and you see that reflected in the film. I think in a very beautiful way. I dug it.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
Well,
That's interesting that you would say that because I have a
different take on it.
Well, I have a huge interest in this being very good. I have a huge interest in it being very relatable, and of course, I just want to see a good superhero movie. Finally. But I guess the only way for me to see because especially since you said that there was a lot of elements that you really liked in it, I'm going to have to go back to see it again. So when it's playing in the USSR, then I'll go back to see it.
Okay. We're going to be okay.
Oh, boy.
Back in the USSR, you'll go see it.
Yeah.
It's getting better. It's getting better.
It's going to need some help.
It's going to need some help. It needs somebody. Anyway, so I'm going to have a hard time keeping a straight face through this room. No, but I'm a mixed bag. You came out, you did not like the movie. I was like, but I could not deny some of the the lesser than good parts of this. I do want to address, because you say the character is in the comics. Was this character created before Miles Morales, or in response to Miles Morales, or is it,
Well, I know Jaime Reyes, if I remember right, was in the mid 2000s.
Okay.
DC had an event around 2005 called Infinite Crisis. It was a big sort of a reset of its universe at the time, and they had just killed off the second Blue Beetle, Ted Kord, who you see referred to in this film.
Yeah.
And so they killed him off, and they introduced Jaime Reyes as a new third Blue Beetle. And I think Miles Morales was also in the mid 2000s, because he was part of the Ultimate Spider-Man line.
Okay.
And I remember they killed off the Ultimate Spider-Man Peter Parker, and then they replaced him with the new Miles Morales version, which was also controversial at the time. A lot of people, it was causing controversy about how you had a Spider-Man that wasn't white, that he was black or Latino, or really both, a mix, biracial, and that caused a lot of hubbub back in the 2000s. So I think they were in the same decade.
Okay. I asked that, so that's not surprising. It's kind of like that was just the time to kind of like let's do something new with our comic book characters. Let's make it more diverse. So it's not something like this one's following. They ride the coattails of the other one. But unfortunately, this movie feels like it's trying to ride the coattails of, other diversity, particularly like in a way Black Panther. It's like, it feels like let's make our version of Black Panther, but with Latino families, but they took a standard superhero movie, and we discussed this coming out of it, and rather painted it in Latino colors, rather than starting from the core and making it feel like the story was a core, authentic,
Well, honestly, like I said, I had a lot of high hopes for this film. And kids, you're going to probably want to get grandma or grandpa, unless your parents are older, to help you listen to this because.
Oh, jeez. Jeez. That's a deep cut. Sorry.
Yeah.
We'll explain what we're doing afterward. If you don't get it, Ryan, I don't know.
Okay.
Tell me why, Peter. Tell me why. But no. Where were you going?
I'm only sleeping.
Oh God. That's so yesterday. It just
That's
felt.
when my troubles were so far away.
Now it looks as if they're here to stay.
Yeah.
But, I believe in yesterday. Okay. If you don't get it, shall we reveal what we're doing? It's Beetle. So we're name dropping all these Beetle songs. And I'm sure we're not the first one to be doing this in a review of Blue Beetle.
Well, if we really took a deep dive in our Yellow Submarine, we would know.
Yeah, we would have, but
By the way, I need to correct myself. Miles debuted in 2011.
Okay.
So he was about 5-6 years after.
Yeah. So it's just.
Yeah, I think he is about 5'6".
Oh God. All right. No, but it was just kind of interesting because it hits all the movie hits all the kind of like standard superhero tropes. You know what I want to bring up specific things, like when he gets the Beetle and it pretty much attaches itself to his face, the first thing, as he's, it's.
Oh, you mean like in Aliens?
Yeah. So the first thing I think of is the movie Alien. And then, it gets on his back, and there are certain scenes that remind me of American Werewolf in London. Now, these are like horror movies, sci-fi horror movies, but they play so much of this movie as a sitcom and comedy, but it's like I can't see references like that. I'm like, oh no, this is, what's happening should be there should be a little touch of tragedy or feel of that, but it was they just played it straight comedy. But I wanted to feel more
Yeah,
Especially because it
in a
made me
way.
remind me of those things that were like really frightening, scary,
Yeah.
horrible things.
I mean, with all of the tragedy and everything that they were playing,
Well, yeah.
I couldn't believe they just didn't use a warm gun.
To find their happiness.
Yeah.
Okay, you're really working it in, aren't you? But yeah, I mean, the family goes through all this tragedy, and I understand, like the patriarchy's like, oh no, we'll get through it, and
Well, I guess.
But like I said, just felt kind of sitcom-y. It's like I didn't really feel like, it's like that.
Well, in bringing a Latino character
Yeah.
into existence, I think they took to Latino culture, the things that happened, because I have a lot of Latino. I don't even think of them as Latino friends or Hispanic friends. They're just my friends, and I don't think they did that when they did Iron Man. Mm-hmm. He was just Iron Man, and he happens to be a white guy. Mm-hmm. When they did Miles Morales, he just happened to be of mixed race.
Yeah.
When they did the Hulk, any superhero, even when they did Black Panther, it wasn't that he was black and we're gonna blacken him up. Mm-hmm. He just happened to be black. He happened to be from Africa. And this is what he does.
I mean, there was just more successful of making the cultural elements, particularly if you bring up like Enter the Spider-Verse and Black Panther. There was just felt a more authentic.
Right. But none of them were. They didn't bring up this is what they do for their culture. With this movie, one thing that I didn't like was that, but Mexicans do this.
Okay.
Oh, and Mexicans do that. And stuff like this. And
Mexicans
I think
we're
they did a lot of that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's another issue with this movie is it's that great sin. It tells you rather than shows you. It tells you. It tells you all the time. That going in. I've heard this movie is like it's kind of standard superhero fare, particularly for DC, but the family elements kind of elevate it. And I did feel that at times, especially because the actors they have great chemistry together. They're very. They're fun. They have a lot of fun, and I like the family elements. But the theme of family, they kind of we're family, we're family, because we're a family, that's our strength. And it's like, don't tell me. You're already showing me that. You don't have to hit me over the head with the message that
it could have just been
theme of that
shown and been a part of it.
Right.
And if you ever have been grown up with, or been a part of, or even from afar or from near, it just happens. If you get a hug, it just happened.
Okay.
With this, it really seemed like somebody was saying, "Oh, don't forget to put this in.
Yeah. Don't
forget to put that in." And it seems like it was from the perspective of someone else.
Yeah. Which is interesting because the director is Latino as well. But
yes,
I didn't check to see if the writers were. Yeah. Any thoughts on this, Ryan?
You mean in terms of the usage of family and where.
Or just how well they handled it. I mean,
but you see there.
I think,
you just used the term family.
Right.
Okay, but it seemed that somebody else would say, but this is what they do. This, the part, one, when the brother and sister
I like the brother and sister relationship, though.
No, I
They were
like the
fine.
relationship.
The sister was fine. I like the sister.
But all of a sudden, the only job they have, the only thing they can do is clean. Well, and then, what does the sister do? She puts more gum on the bottom of the chair. This will keep us working longer. Why are we going there? So, and it might be on me. All of a sudden, all the good stuff, I started seeing all the negative stuff. Black Panther never had to eat something, of his culture.
I mean,
but this
was
I think
written by a Mexican writer, so I don't know.
That was, we got to throw that in.
It feels to me like, and this can't be, because since you said the comics, this character is in the comics and it's based on that, but it just feels like it's like, okay, we have this character, let's paint it in a Latino lens, but you're only painting the surface, you're only getting the surface of that, and that's I didn't enjoy that, and it could be, I've heard this is one movie would have benefited not knowing anything going in. I think I would have enjoyed it a little more. But I knew about the family element was probably the strong element of the movie, and
because the one thing, they did come together, but
how do you come together? Tell me what you see.
Well, I messed up.
All right. That's
I'm going to have to run my own life.
Okay. Oh my gosh, you need Dr. Robert. So it's I just had issues. I kind of like the thing with the grandmother. It's like a hit and miss thing with me. I don't want to say love hate, because I don't have that strong a feeling for the more. Like dislike is more like it. Like the grandmother being a former revolutionary, that was a fun idea, but then she's like killing off people, and there's this dark
with the rainbow gun? With
the rainbow disco ball gun that looked like a light fixture from our cousin's living room, because he's decorated his living room like he's in
the 70s.
like a 1970s disco. So, hi Patrick. But I think there were some dark elements they could have incorporated into this that I felt was a missed opportunity. It would have given this movie a little more oomph, a little more grittiness, a little more interest, made it a little more interesting. Like a dark, that's dark. Grandma was a revolutionary.
Yeah. And
I appreciate it. She's like, we don't cry now. We got to get through this. And then and because we've all been in situations, it's like, something tragic has happened to our family, but we got to hold it together to get stuff done until,
Yeah, but I think the Blue Beetle was made weak by all the so-called family help he had to get and rely on.
Okay, why?
Because we can't do this, we can't get to it unless Grandma helps. We can't do this unless this one helps. I still think the best line of the whole movie was, "Come on, help me like my truck."
Okay. Yeah. George Lopez was fine in this. You could tell, like, his funniest parts were probably ad-libbed. Anything they gave him to do, okay, we'll give him the funny line to say this, call his truck taco and all this kind of nonsense. But it was those kind of like, just throw off lines in between stuff that were really funny. I liked him in this.
And their tailgate.
I liked all the actors in this. I just didn't really, I think they deserve better material. That's kind of basically it. And, another tough thing with this superhero is, like, his powers are, like, it's too much, like, made you think of Iron Man, made you think of, it's fiction, Iron Man, I guess, and something.
Well, I don't know what you can call
you said
it.
the
I had to think more about it yesterday. But, there was elements of his suit that I liked, and there was elements of his suit that I
Okay.
didn't like.
Okay.
But that's just the character. The Blue Beetle. I think they made a left turn and stayed on that road.
Which one?
Oh, the long and winding road.
Okay. Jesus Christ. I think we need to stop that. It's just, it's going too far.
Please, we should.
Please. Well, it's please me, but that's okay. I just, it could have, it was fine. I don't know.
Yeah, but when we saw it, it was just a hard day's night. So I just.
Jeez. Susan Sarandon as a villain. You have a great actress like that. I could have taken her lead. It wasn't.
Yeah, but
anything special.
As good as she is, I thought her writing, her lines, were terrible.
Okay. Well, yeah. There's, like I said, that it's not the actors. I think they could have been given better material.
Yes.
But I kind of sense this is like it's the DC. All of DC movies feel about the same, and I mean, do Marvel movies feel different? I think Marvel has a better track record of getting kind of like directors and writers that have like an individual style, and it's for better or for worse, because you can get a Black Panther or you can get the Eternals, it can, or even Captain Marvel or something like that. But they have a distinctive voice that they do let come through in the movies. They don't. Whereas this is like, it's got to be the DC. Yeah, none of these movies, they all kind of feel like they could have been made by the same person.
Yeah, because
except maybe Wonder Woman, the Patty Jenkins, the first one. She.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, in Marvel with Neymar, they talked about where he came from,
his history. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They talked about, how grounded he was. And how these things came to make him who he is.
Yeah.
But it wasn't so much that his culture. He just happened to be.
Well, I mean, that's a good a good comparison, because Wakanda Forever, not a lot of people loved it, but I thought like how they presented Namor and his people felt like, he felt a little more authentic culture.
Right.
From them, which was like a fictional,
right. And see that, I guess that's the whole
Latin
thing.
American culture, but
we have to remember.
But you can tell
it is all fictional.
Yeah, it is all fictional. But yeah, they seem to take care in like really studying that the elements, or allowing like more authentic elements to come through, and I'm pretty sure it's just DC not letting people really truly express themselves. So let's get this wrapped up. So any final thoughts on Blue Beetle?
Well, I know
talked
with
a lot
me,
about it.
This will surprise you. Please make the second one and go see it.
What?
Yes. Because I think they need to clean this up.
Okay.
And they do have a good character and
good cast.
Yeah, and stop trying to play to the culture. Make a good movie.
Yeah. I agree. And how about you, Ryan? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, I guess the only thing that's kind of occurred to me is, where does this film or the character sort of fit in? Because there have been sort of conflicting statements from James Gunn, where it's like, well, on one hand, the first movie of the new universe is going to be the Superman Legacy film, which suggests that this movie is kind of not going to be part of the new universe, the Blue Beetle film. But on the other hand, he has kind of said that Jaime Reyes is a character, that this Blue Beetle might actually be a character in the new universe.
Okay.
So maybe this particular story that we see in this film might not be considered in continuity, but we might see this character again,
Yeah.
played by the same actor.
Mm-hmm.
In another, whether that's in another Blue Beetle film or another hero film or maybe a Justice League film, I don't know. But it sounds like Gunn still has plans to sort of maybe use this character in some manner in the future. I don't know if that means a sequel. If there is a sequel, you know, will it look different than this movie? Like Peter was saying, will it pick up on like this thread at the end where all of a sudden Ted Kord is still alive? I'm sort of doubting that'll happen. My hunch is if we see another Blue Beetle film, it's going to be sort of starting fresh from scratch, and whatever was in this film likely won't be continued necessarily.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind them taking another take at this character, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that, if they want to bring it back, they can do a lot better. there's you know, they have room to grow, basically.
Yes.
Yeah, they could do a lot to improve upon it. You know, what they've already established, or you know, or like drastically change it to something else. And so so we'll see. So that's it. Blue Beetle is in theaters now. You know, tell me what you see. Go ahead, and if you've seen it, let us know what you think in the comments. And we out.
Yeah. Well, I'm so tired.
You're so tired. Let it be, Peter. Let it be. All right, we out. Thanks, Ryan.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.